So this is my new Xpeng G6 that I picked up only a few weeks ago, and I'm getting ready to do a whole lot of long distance road trips in it. A lot of road trips actually through fairly remote parts of outback Australia. So for those trips, I really should be carrying a spare tyre, and unfortunately a lot of new cars simply don't come with spare tyres. A lot of people seem to think it's an EV specific thing, actually, especially in some of the comments on my previous road trip videos. People almost think it's like impossible for an electric car to have a spare tyre. There are electric cars that have spare tyres, that come with spare tyres even, not very many, but there are a few. And there are also some new petrol cars that simply don't come with a spare tyre. So it's really not so much about that. It's really much more of a new car thing, that just a lot of new cars simply don't come with spare tyres. It does so happen that almost all EVs are new cars, and it is probably still more common in EVs than petrol cars, but that's just the fact of it. A lot of new cars often don't come with a spare tyre. But yeah, this exact car does not come with a spare tyre at all. What you do get under the boot floor is this thing, which is like a thing that folds up into a warning triangle, which I guess you might put up if you stopped on a busy road somewhere. And you get this bag called a repair tool assembly. That is a little portable air compressor that can be powered by the car. So that's good if you just have to put more air in the tyre. And some tyre sealant. I don't think the camera's going to pick that up very well, but it's basically sort of glue stuff. So you should in theory be able to fix a puncture with that, depending on how bad it is. And then this is just the case for the pulling eye thing if you had to be towed. And that, I think, is a fluoro vest, which if you want to be fairly extreme when you have a flat tyre, you could wear that. So that could help you out, I guess, depending on the situation, or ultimately you'd be calling roadside assistance. But for some of the long trips I do, that's really not going to be a very good option. So I really want to have an actual spare tyre that I can put on if something happens to one of the actual tyres. So I had a look online at getting a spare tyre. It's just that it doesn't come with one. You can actually get one for it. With my previous EV, the Kia Niro, I actually ordered a spare tyre out of a crashed Hyundai in the US on eBay, secondhand. Was not really ever used, but sort of secondhand. So that was a bit of a weird situation, but that actually did work out for me quite okay as a spare tyre. And I have actually used it on a road trip before, so it kind of was worth having. But rather than do that for this car, I actually just got online and Googled spare tyre for an Xpeng G6, and I found this company in Melbourne that makes a lot of these spare tyre kits for a lot of EVs and just a lot of other cars in general. So where you get the spare tyre and all the tyre changing stuff and everything like that. And they do have one specifically for the Xpeng G6. So I just bought that and now I'm kind of done. So that just worked out really well. They have a warehouse in Melbourne that you can arrange to go and pick the tyre up from them if you want to save on the shipping fees, or they'll just ship it to anywhere in Australia. But now I have a spare tyre. Not the easiest thing to hold, but here it is. It comes in this bag. I don't want to say the name of the company because I don't really know how to say the name of it, but that's them if you want to Google them. And I'll put a link to their website in the description if you're interested. They do make spare tyres for quite a few different models of EVs and even other cars. But yeah, this is my tyre now. And it is only a space saver spare tyre, so it's not like the full-sized wheel that's on the car. It is technically limited to 80 kilometers an hour. I read on their website These are actually tested to 130 kilometers an hour, so that's actually really good peace of mind. They simply recommend you only do no more than 80 because the wheel's like a different size to the other ones and the tread's different and everything, so it's more just a concern about the vehicle being unstable. So that's really good. It's actually a perfectly strong enough wheel to hold up to being driven, which is really good because I could well get a flat tire 200 kilometers or so from the nearest town and have to use this a fair bit. So that's all good. Obviously, ideally it would have been a full-size spare for the sort of trips I do, but that's just going to be even bigger and take up even more space and everything. So I'm actually perfectly fine with a space saver spare. Unfortunately, unlike in my Nero, there's kind of nowhere to put it in the Xpeng. As you can see, I've just got it sitting in the boot here, and it kind of takes up a lot of the boot floor. And if I take this out, in my Nero, and quite often in a lot of other cars, you put the spare tire under the boot floor in like this extra compartment. And as you can tell, there is actually a bit of space in here, but certainly not enough to fit the spare tire. So I could store some other things in here, but really can't put the spare tire in there, which is a little bit annoying. So what I'm thinking of doing for road trips at least anyway, is this extra bit of floor will come off. That's just Velcroed on there. I can open up this little hole here at sort of the back of the boot or the front of the boot, depending on how you're looking at it, right near the back seats, which is obviously still nowhere near enough to put a spare tire in. But what I might do is awkwardly sit that in there, something like that, up against the back seats here, and I'll probably tie it somewhere somehow with a secure it a bit better than that, and that still gives me most of the boot available but keeps the tire in there. It's a little bit in the way, but I think that's probably going to be the neatest solution to sort of pack it up in there. Or if I want to have the back seats folded down in order to sleep in the back of the car, which I certainly do sometimes, I might try and sort of put this in the back seat footwell or something, or I don't know, put it under my mattress or something. That'll be another thing to figure out. So there's not really an ideal spot to put it, but I certainly can put it in the car, and it is nice and neatly packed in this bag. But because there's nowhere to actually store it under the boot or anything, I'm thinking I'm probably not necessarily going to carry this around in the car just all the time. I'm thinking it might have to be just more of a thing. It stays in the garage, and just when I'm going on a really long road trip or something, in the sort of place where I think I kind of really do need to have a spare tire, then I'll just put it in the car for those occasions. So that's not really ideal there, but for the sort of trips I do at times definitely need to bring one. So this will allow me to do that. And the fact it's all in this neat case makes it really not too bad. And I think when I have the back seats up like this, it's really still giving me a fairly good amount of boot space with the tire also there. So while that's not ideal, that's sort of the best option I have. Inside the carry bag here, this zip gets stuck, I've found. But obviously there's a tire. And well, yeah, that's the tire. It does say 80 kilometers an hour max because that's what they recommend, and temporary use only because it is just a temporary spare tire. It actually has this cool thing on it here that allows you to connect to your phone via Bluetooth, and then you can see what the tire pressure is, which is good, I guess, if you want to just check it still has enough pressure in it to be fine. I've tried to install this app. It seems to have disappeared from the Google Play Store because my phone is Android. The iOS app still seems to be available. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Hopefully the app comes back soon or something. But for now, I was unable to try that out, but not the end of the world. aside from the actual tyre itself, you can just buy the tyre or you can buy the full kit for everything you need to change the tyre. So I bought the full kit, which came with that and the jack and a thing to actually raise the jack much more easily than my previous jack that I had for the Nero. Comes with a set of gloves, which I actually really appreciated because I've kind of bashed up my knuckles changing tyres before. Another one of these triangles, so you can be very safe with 2 triangles now. I should take off the gloves because it's too hard. Now for the Xpeng, it's come with these additional nuts, I guess. That's to put them on the spare tyre, because apparently the ones on the Xpeng tyre will not fit the spare tyre, so I find that a little strange, but if that's what's needed, then that's good that that was included. And it's come with the 2 sizes of these things in order to take off the Xpeng nuts and then put on the included ones. And now I've been told this is the rubber puck thing that's used to jack up a Tesla. Apparently Teslas don't have normal jacking points that most cars do, so you have to use a rubber puck thing like this. And when I was there picking it up, they told me the Xpeng is the same sort of situation as a Tesla. It doesn't have a proper jacking point, so you need to put one of these on top of the jack. So they included one of these in the kit. And these are some tweezery things to get the caps off the nuts of the wheel. So that should be everything I need there. And I figured I should probably try and jack up the car and make sure the tyre all goes on and has no problems before I take it way off into the outback. So unlike sort of a typical car, just to be able to jack up the car, I actually have to take off this plastic panel. It's under it. Hopefully without snapping anything. I don't think I broke anything. And now there's still not a jacking point, but what there is a little hole that you can put this rubber puck into. Under the car here, where I've taken off this panel, there's that hole, which I can't do it while filming, but yeah, I can put that into that and then jack up that rubber puck. And apparently that's the way you do it. That's going to go like that and then wind up in there. I will say this is going up a lot easier than the cheap eBay jack I bought for my Nero. And now the only other thing that makes it different is there's these plastic caps over the actual nuts, but the clip came with these just plastic tweezery things. So then you just pull that off and then that reveals the real nut there. So that's fairly easy, but I don't know, can you? Yeah, I could maybe get it off with my fingers, but I think it would be rather difficult. And the moment of truth, will it actually go on the car and work? Fits the bolts. What's confusing me though is why I have these extra things. I thought they were meant to go on here, but they're still there, and the nuts from the car would fit. So I'm quite confused why I have these, but I'll just ignore them. I will take it for a very, very short test drive, not actually driving on real roads, but just drive it a little bit to make sure it spins and everything. But yeah, I would say this is actually a pretty good kit because that was quite a bit easier than when I had to do it for my Neuro. So yeah, I'm all happy with that really. So it does sound a bit different driving on my gravel driveway, but I think that's just because it's smaller and I'm gonna get on a paved road and not drive it all far. I'd just like to make sure Oh, I think I can kind of hear a weird noise. Oh, it's gone. Yep, seems like it's working perfectly fine. Actually, it doesn't really seem any different at all. I'm doing 40 k's an hour, but it doesn't seem at all unstable or loud or making any sort of weird noise or anything. I'm very happy with that. Obviously, I will keep below about 80 k's an hour if I ever have to use it, which could potentially be annoying if I am hundreds of kilometers from the nearest tyre shop, but I don't really want to have a full size spare, so I think that's perfectly fine. I feel quite confident this would get me to the next town. It would maybe just take me an extra half an hour or something to do so. And there it is after being driven. It's now a bit dirty, but held up perfectly fine. So that's basically it for this video. As I say, I'm actually really quite happy with how well it goes on and how well it drives and everything. So that's all really good. Unfortunately, there just is not really anywhere good to put it in my car. So because of that reason, I'm probably not going to carry it in the car with me all the time, which is a bit annoying, bit of a downside. But especially for things like my Central Australia trip, which I'm leaving for in about a week's time, this will just be such good. I think it's really kind of essential to have some kind of spare tyre with you for a trip like that, because yeah, it's pretty remote and sort of anything could happen to the tyre and everything. So I'm definitely going to bring it for things like that. But apart from that, it will quite likely just spend a lot of time sitting in the garage, not even being in the car with me, which means if I got a flat tyre locally or something, that's a bit annoying. But I have a lot of options of like roadside assistance or something here, or just getting someone to bring me the spare tyre or something. So I'm not as concerned about that. The real reason I wanted it was because for these long remote trips, and I think that'll do the job for that very well. But that's it for this one, and I'll see you in another one soon.